Urban Meyer was never going to be the next head coach at Michigan State. That's just a basic fact. And anybody with half a brain knows that that is the case. That's the truth. That's the stone cold, solid facts of the situation. I've mentioned before on the show that there are just some people and just some places that certain things can't happen, right? Michigan State employed a doctor who was a serial sexual assaultist slash rapist. Do you know what's kind of the one thing that's not going to fly at Michigan State is sexual harassment? It's why Mel Tucker no longer has a job at Michigan State. That's all there kind of really is to go over. Urban Meyer was never going to be a fit there. Because when you remember why Urban Meyer doesn't have a job right now and why the job at Michigan State is open, those two equations, that math ain't mathin', okay? It just doesn't work. So there's just some places where some things don't and can't work out, and Michigan State is one of those. I'm certain that Michigan State's athletic department would love and relish the opportunity to hire Urban Meyer as their head football coach. But it can't happen there, at least not now. If Urban Meyer were to go, and really, we talk often about the redemption tour that anybody who's screwed up goes on. And really, the ultimate redemption tour is time. That's the only thing that heals. Urban Meyer could give every Oprah interview and appear with Joel Osteen or whoever the hell you want to name and try to rehabilitate his image. The only thing that's going to rehabilitate the image is time. That's it. And it hasn't been long enough, I don't think, to go over the one absolute failure of Urban Meyer in the NFL, to the video of him checking his dipstick in a college co-ed in a public bar, and then 3, the flat out cover up of domestic violence that one of his assistant coaches was committing. It hasn't been long enough. If in 2 or 3 years, maybe that works. The problem with Urban Meyer is that in 2 or 3 years, is he going to still be a hot coaching commodity? I don't think so. I know that he's said before, like, hey, I'm done. I'm not coaching. He's done the old Brett Favre, I'm done. Well, if you show the slightest bit of interest, I'll fall for the first piece of ass that comes along. So he's done that song and dance before. I somewhat believe him this time, that the NFL experience, the way it went on the field, the way it went off the field, was enough to make him be like, oh, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I think it makes a lot of sense to think that that's done and over with, that chapter of his life is over. And I think he's a really good TV analyst. He does a really good job of explaining how and why things are happening on the field. And I think he's credible. Now, I think there's some credibility issue there when he talks about, this is how you handle a locker room, or this is what coaches should be coaching their coaches, etc. Well, brother, that didn't end all that well for you. But he was never going to be the next head coach at Michigan State. One, not to hurt any feelings, but is Michigan State worth leaving a job that you like and are paid pretty handsomely for in TV that requires a 10th of the work, an 8th of the work, a 16th of the work? Hell, it might be less than that being a college head football coach entails. No, not especially. And even if Michigan State hired Urban Meyer, does he make them a national championship contender? Probably not. If Lincoln Riley were to leave USC, or Steve Sarkisian were to leave Texas, or Marcus Freeman were to leave Notre Dame, those are places, the types of places I think that Urban Meyer could be connected to. But again, I think that ship has sailed for him, that chapter of his life is over, and he has moved on. And that's okay. It's probably a good thing for him. It's probably a good thing for the college football coaching community as well. Is that we fall in love with these guys who, like, every year for, I don't know, damn near a decade, any NFL coaching job that came up was like, well, Bill Cowher could be in play here. John Gruden might be an option. And then they really weren't ever really an option until John Gruden came back, because he was going to get to the Raiders paid him too much money to say no to. I don't think Michigan State can pay Urban Meyer too much money to say no to. I realized that Mel Tucker got lots and lots of cash from them, but I think it would have to be even more and even a higher number to bring Urban Meyer out. And they're not going to do that for a myriad of reasons. One, there are just some places where you can't let things happen. For instance, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that Bowling Green State University hockey has a hazing incident right now. BGSU had a student die from a hazing incident at a frat house. There are just some places that you can't be accused of hazing and can't perpetuate hazing in your college sports programs. And a place that you had a student make national headlines because he died from a hazing ritual, that's probably one of the people that you can't have. That's one of the things you can't have happen at your university. At Michigan State, you employed a serial sexual assaulter as a doctor. That's just one of those places that you can't have any sexual misconduct allegations. And when they happen, you're going to get fired because people remember. The same thing goes for Penn State, Baylor, anywhere else that has had some of these higher profile scandals. You then can't turn around and hire somebody who has the baggage, whether you think it's fair and warranted or not, of Urban Meyer. You just can't do it. It didn't pass the smell test from the get-go, and the amount of people who took it and ran with it is preposterous. Put two and two together. There's a reason Michigan State has an opening, and there's a reason Urban Meyer isn't coaching somewhere. It's literally that simple. So that math doesn't math, and there's a reason that Urban Meyer is not going to be the next head coach at Michigan State. Now, Bruce Feldman, who writes for Fox Sports and has a direct line to Urban Meyer, said Urban's not even remotely interested in the opportunity. It's literally, I think, directly quoted Urban Meyer by saying, like, hey, I am not interested. I will not be the next head coach of Michigan State. And I love what I'm doing with Fox. I believe all of that is true. I believe that he is not interested in the job of Michigan State, because can he go back? If you're going to go back to college football coaching, you got to have a chance to win a national championship, right? Like, it's got to be a slam dunk. Like, Brian Kelly wasn't leaving Notre Dame for just any run-of-the-mill place. He left Notre Dame to go to a place that he thought it was more likely he'd win a national championship. The results haven't necessarily bared that out. But it's a logical thought process. Can I go from Notre Dame to LSU and be more likely to win a national championship? Yes. Brett Bielema, I think, did the same thing a few years ago when he said he left Wisconsin to go to Arkansas. It's more likely that I'm going to win a national championship at Arkansas. I think you're probably wrong in that. You're not going to win a national championship at either Arkansas or Wisconsin, but that's neither here nor there. If Urban Meyer is going to leave a job that I think he truly likes, might even love, that being on Fox presents a whole new different set of challenges, and still being part of a team and building a common goal and getting everybody pulling one direction. TV's not all that dissimilar from college football coaching, bare bones wise. You're still trying to get better every day, yada, yada, yada. It's just the method in which you do your work is drastically different. But I really believe that he loves that job with Big Noon Saturday. Big Noon Kickoff. I think he enjoys it. So if he's going to leave that job, it's not going to be for a place like Michigan State. And I know that's, if you're a Spartan fan, that's probably not all that fun to swallow that big ball of not funness that just tossed out there, but you're just not at that level. if Brent Venables was to get fired at Oklahoma for some reason, that's a little more easy of a job to envision Urban Meyer taking than Michigan State. College football is generally, it's slightly different from college basketball in that, like, you gotta take a lower job, and like Rick Pitino had to take the Iona College job before he could work his way back up into the upper echelons of college basketball. Where in football, like you see Hugh Freeze take a job at Liberty. Well, Hugh Freeze was never going to be a lifer at Liberty. He was going to. I mentioned earlier that the rehabilitation tour is often time. It's really only time. That might not have been true. Time and winning somewhere else does a lot to rehabilitate an image. Bobby Petrino, if you believe some of the internet rumors, didn't wreck his motorcycle as much as he got his ass kicked by a boyfriend of a girl he got his hand caught with a cookie jar in. Rehabilitated his image and came back to college football, was the head coach at Louisville before that went down in just a horrible disaster, Missouri State, and now is the offensive coordinator at A&M. Time and winning somewhere else will do a lot to rehabilitate your image. And at the stage of Urban Meyer's life and career, is he willing to go to a lesser program for a couple of years, do a whole lot of winning before he works his way back up to the upper echelons of college football? In my opinion, no. That there's just not that much time left on Urban Meyer's coaching clock. And he might tell you today that there's no time left on that clock. That's just it. It's run its course. It's done. And I would tend to believe that. But can Urban Meyer go to Liberty for 3 years, win 10 games every year for 3 years, and then come back and be the head coach of Florida? I don't know. Because by the time he gets through those 3 years at Liberty, what's left in the tank? Probably not a lot. And Florida's not looking to hire somebody that's got 2 years left in them or whatever. So I think the ship has sailed of Urban Meyer coming back to college football. And that's okay. But every time a remotely high-profile job comes up, we don't have to do the song and dance of like, could Urban Meyer be in play here? No. The answer is likely no. Because, again, the reasons that Urban Meyer doesn't have a job right now are likely at conflict with why the job is open at insert college university here. It's just the reality of the situation, and that's okay. So I just think, like, when you see that stuff trickle out on the old tweet machine, take it with a grain of salt. Frankly, I don't care who's the one running with it. Now, it was a Fox Sports radio host, weekend radio host, I think, that had got the ball rolling of like, oh, here's what I'm hearing. Anytime somebody says, here's what I'm hearing, take it with a grain of salt, because that's not reporting. Reporting is sourcing that out, getting good, solid, quality information, rather than somebody told me this. Well, somebody told me this doesn't mean it's reliable. It doesn't hold up. Figuring out who's credible and who isn't shouldn't be all that hard, because the top college football reporters in America are very rarely, if ever, going to say, well, what I'm hearing is, and it not be either directly from that person, directly from the university, or the coach's agent. It's very rarely going to be like, well, one of the assistant athletic directors for institutional advancement, who actually is also still a senior at Michigan State, said that Urban Meyer might be in play. Does that track to you? Because it doesn't to me, and it shouldn't track to you. The math don't math. Urban Meyer was never going to be the next head coach at Michigan State. and that's okay. They're going to have a lot of candidates, a lot of different people that could make a ton of sense in that job. And it's going to be, in one of the positives of being open right now is a lot of people get to think about that job. A lot of people you get to be the homecoming queen right now, that you're the only one out there that people are going, would I think about that? Would I take it? Would I consider it? Because by the time the end of November hits and there's a flurry of openings, not every potential job offer, not every potential job opening is going to get that level of treatment. Michigan State's the only big job open right now. And so everybody gets to think about it. That's a positive. It's just everybody gets to think about it, and we can just cross off that Urban Meyer is not going to be that guy that fills that void. That's today's edition of the Daily Huddle. I'm Garrett Searight. Thanks for making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. Really appreciate it. If you are watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting all of the college football content we're pumping out here on Saturday Glory. If you're listening on the podcast, drop a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping get in front of more college football fans. We'll be back with you tomorrow for more college football talk right here on the Daily Huddle on Saturday Glory.